Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Devotees continue to flock St. Peter's Basilica to attend the wake of Pope Francis. World leaders, including our President Bongbong Marcos, are expected to attend the funeral rites on Saturday. The Catholic community prepares for the solemn ceremony. Let's get on point with Catholic Media Network President Father Francis Lucas. Father Francis, so good to see you. Good evening and welcome to the show.
Blessed evening to us all, especially to you, Pinky.
Father, it's been 2 days since the death of Pope Francis, and the world continues to mourn his passing. How would you, where are you in all this? How do you feel? How would you remember him?
Well, I remember him as if I have lost a very important inspiration in my life. First reason is we have the same name, Francis. And I was so surprised. I was then the spokesperson of the media of the CBCP. So when I learned that he chose Francis, I says, OMG, oh my gulay. That's really difficult because Saint Francis lived a sacrificial life, embedding himself with the poor, the very poor. So I said, wow, this is a great pope. So that's when he left the Philippines, I had so many stories of miracles and conversions with the ordinary people just to see him pass by. So now that he's dead, I really feel I lost a great inspiration in my faith and also in my priesthood.
How did he inspire you most?
Inspired me most by his humility, like Saint Francis, because I always refer him to Saint Francis of Assisi, who is my patron saint, and I studied his whole life, even the unwritten life of Saint Francis of Assisi, his humility, his love for those downtrodden, and he has removed from himself all the entitlement privileges that all of us want to have. So in this sense, I said, wow, this is a great pope. Remember, when he was elected as pope, he did not even want to wear a Prada shoes, which will be, of course, donated to him. So he just wanted his own shoes, his own all the shoes. So he also said, no privileges. I don't want a beautiful car. I just want an ordinary car. When he embraced a person with a skin disease and kissed him for about a minute and hugged him. And then I remember Jesus Christ washing the feet of his apostles. And also when he kissed the feet of the leader in South Sudan. And he was at the time already old. He bent down, knelt, and kissed the feet. I said, how can he do that? He's my Pope. I was the one rebelling in my heart. But then when he said why he did it, he loved so much peace. There's so much violence and lack of love among people, people to people. So for him, that's worth all the sacrifice to kneel down and kiss the feet of an Arab leader.
And
so these are just simple ones that really penetrated in my heart.
And with his simplicity, Father, how should that resonate to us?
His simplicity is coming from his humility. That he does not want any pomposity. He does not want to be praised as a leader. He said, I'm not a master, I'm a servant. And that is really a very serious statement of removing all the entitlements from yourself. So we have to learn this, especially in the world today, that power is the most important. We are all very judgmental. we use different issues to destroy others just to get what we want in this life. We strive to do bad things because we want to get something that is truly for yourself.
Thank you for that reminder, Father. And to all those listening to us, may we remember that. With this simplicity, I want to go on to, well, now he's lying in state at St. Peter's Basilica. And he had readied, no, Father, how he wants to be buried. And even with that, is a change from what is the usual or the norm. Let's talk about that. What is the significance of he wants to be buried in the Basilica of Saint Mary Major?
Sure.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes.
Tell us the significance of that.
Well, that was his wish because the icon of Mary there in that basilica, he has been saying whenever he has problems, whenever he wants to be consoled or to listen, to ask for help and listen to the advice, he goes to that icon of the Blessed Virgin. So when you think of that, he is very Marian. Of course,
Yes.
he is Christ-like, but it's like a mother to him. And remember, the Saint Joseph lying down and sleeping also is one of his favorites. That's
Yeah.
why he became so popular.
Yeah.
Many people sold Saint Joseph lying because he says he puts in the letter and I ask for Saint Joseph and then it's given to him.
So that Saint Joseph will remember his prayers while sleeping, sabi po ni Pope
Sleeping.
Francis. Yeah.
So that is the reason why he wanted in Mary Majore.
I see. And also very important, this is something that a lot of people have been talking about, the symbolism of the day of his passing. I had mentioned this yesterday during Easter Sunday Mass, ang sabing nung pari po sa amin na dalawa yung importanteng okasyon sa isang taon. Yung araw ng pagkasilang, Pasko ng pagkasilang rather, which is Christmas, and Pasko ng pagkabuhay, which is
Right.
Easter. And then, you have the Pope after 5 weeks in the hospital and 1 month trying to recover out of the hospital. Barely a month after that, he was able to have the blessing. He was able to wave and bless the people in St. Peter's Square. That lasted for about 15 minutes. Everyone was happy. Everyone was actually shocked. And there was a story that he actually thanked his nurse for encouraging him to make that ended up to be his last Pope Mobile, siguro transport around St. Peter's Square. Tell us the symbolism of that, having been able to do that Easter Sunday and having passed the Monday after, Easter Monday.
He did not want to disturb the Triduum, the 3 last days of the Holy Week. And he waited for the resurrection. So one of the symbolism that I would think is, as he dies, he is also resurrected already with Jesus and God in his heavenly kingdom. But number 2, I would say, he has this kind of deep set self-disposition. I will serve up to the end. A Jesuit priest also by the name of Father James B. Reuter is so popular. I worked with him for many years.
We know him, yes.
Yes,
Father
of
Reuter.
course. He's a media guru of mine. So he told me, because we had a general assembly of the network, and I was really terribly sick after my brain accident. And then he said, Jim, I cannot attend the general assembly, but you're the president. I said, but no. You know what he said? Francis. We rest only after we die. Do your job. I said, wow. You see, up to the last hour, I think Pope Francis wanted to pursue, like in the last seven last word, that he can tell God, natapos na. It's done.
It's done.
And into your hands, I commend my spirit.
Right.
I think that's the big symbol of that.
Yeah.
So working up to the end as a servant of the servants.
Yeah, because while many were surprised that he was able to go around St. Peter's Square Easter Sunday, the biggest surprise obviously happened the day after, when the world found out that he had passed on. And then everybody started, talking about that, na he didn't even want to take away the significance of Easter Sunday. Tinapos pa niya yon. He had
Yes.
one last
Round.
one last round, right? And then they were saying that he actually passed around 7:30 in the morning of Monday, local time.
Local time there.
Yes, local time there. And meron din hong mga lumalabas na stories. I don't know if you read it, Father Francis, na nakapag-wave pa ata siya doon sa kanyang nurse na pinasalamatan, that encouraged him to go around St. Peter's Square that Easter Sunday.
I see this when I was also interviewed in reporting about his ailment. The doctors were very careful not to say that he is now in better health. Never said that. They just say they're stable up to the level that they were able to keep him alive. So I wanted to ask God, give him more years, give him more years. But staying there in the hospital for many weeks, I kind of thought that he can recover. But as we say, the last flicker of a candle dying is become its brightest towards the end.
Yeah.
They gave it very strong fire and then done.
And maybe as a last point that I wanted to discuss with you, Pope Francis would always say, please pray for me. Hindi ho ba madalas sabihin din niya yung please pray? There are two things that I would remember. He would always say, please pray for me. And another thing, that if he doesn't know the answer, he was never embarrassed to say, I don't know what to say to you regarding that.
Oh, yes.
Or I don't know what to
Yes.
say. He said that in Tacloban when he was amongst many families of those who had died during Typhoon Yolanda. I remember he said, I don't know what to say to you. I've been wanting to come here, but now I'm here, although a little bit late. Hindi ho siya takot na sabihin na, hindi ko alam kung anong sasabihin ko sa inyo. What does it say about him?
For me, that's very important because with that kind of attitude, I have also learned that we cannot just give an advice to people in dire straits, and they have conflicting feelings and deep feelings because we never experienced it. Especially those people who are victims of disasters, their mother, father, siblings died. My gosh. And sometimes some of them will tell me, but hindi pa ako. Sana kasama na ako because how can I lead this life? So, Pope Francis, what can he say? You cannot just tell people, oh, nasa langit na yung papagdasal ko yan. Come on. That is not Pope Francis. So he really wanted just to tell them, I'm one with you. That's why I'm here. Despite the rain and the storm, I'm here with you. Because God will always be with us. So that's one of the things that I can never forget about him.
Catholic Media Network President, Father Francis Lucas. Father, pleasure to have you. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
God
Bye.
bless you all.
And we'll be taking a short break. Up next, we'll speak to our colleague, Willard Cheng, who was able to cover Pope Francis in his 2015 visit here in the country. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. You're still watching On Point. Pope Francis's special connection with Filipinos cannot be overemphasized. During his 2015 visit to the Philippines, he was warmly welcomed by the Catholic faithful. Journalists were among those who witnessed how the Pope offered hope, especially to those who are most in need. Let's get on point with journalist and soon to be our co-anchor in Agenda, Willard Cheng. Willard, good to have you. It's your first interview after
First interview.
so
Nice to
long,
be here. Yeah, on the
you,
hot seat, warming up my seat.
You gotta warm it up, pero this is something that is going to be so easy for you because you covered the arrival of the Pope. So tell us exactly, kasi it was 4 days, no? January 15,
Yes.
16, 17, 18. Tama ba?
And 19 also for
And
his departure.
Ayun yung umalis na siya. So
Yeah.
sige, kwento mo sa amin yung pagdating sa Villamor Air Base.
Grabe, it was just simply awe-inspiring, Pinky. Perhaps it was the only coverage that I allowed myself to be awed by the person that I was covering. I was a fanboy at that time. So sabi ko, okay lang ma-inspire, ganyan. And I have to keep my emotions in check and tell myself not to be carried away too much. I was in Villamor Air Base for his arrival. And by the time I saw him look out from his window,
Yeah, yung sa
sa
aeroplano,
plane,
no?
yes,
Oo.
so,
Naghihiyawan na yung mga
naghihiyawan
tao
na
nun
mga
eh.
tao. I was also a bit carried away. Ang hirap na hindi maiyak sa nakita mo. Especially when I saw him smile, I was already awed. And then, I was also in UST for his encounter with the youth. I saw how he set aside his prepared remarks and allowed himself to be carried away by the questions, especially of the young people who were there.
Yeah.
I remember Glyzel Palomar, the young girl who asked the Pope, why God was allowing
Grabe,
children to suffer.
nakakaiyak yun.
Grabe,
Oo.
tago sa puso talaga yun. So, nakaka-on na makita yung mga tao na talagang ang laki ng impact sa kanila ng mga words ni Pope at the time.
Balikan natin yun. I want to talk about Glyzel now, but this is where it all started. Itong pinapakita natin, yung pagdating niya sa Villamor Air Base. Willard was saying kanina, kasi actually, prior to that, syempre matagal bago bumaba si Pope, di ba? Yung pagsilip niya dun sa ano. Tapos tumayo pa siya eh. Naalala mo,
Yes.
tumayo siya. Although I don't know your vantage point, gaano ka ba kalapit o kalayo noon kay Pope?
A few meters lang. Meron lang crowd na nasa harapan namin. That was the receiving party. And then nandun yung mga members of the youth who were doing field demo for him. Sort of a
Yeah.
welcoming party for him. And then
Of course,
nakikita
ang
namin
presidente noon was the late
the late
Pinoy.
President Aquino. And then, so nakikita namin yung image na yun right in front of us. And meron lang kaming screen kasi syempre nakatutok dapat sa camera. So doon namin nakikita na, uy, sumisilip na si Pope. Yun.
Yung ano, no, yung excitement talaga ng tao. Ako din binalikan ko kasi
Yeah.
yung mga videos nung 2015 na kaya naaalala ko yung sumilip siya.
Yes.
Kasi ang pagka-reporter ka, 'di ba, iba yung vantage point mo, iba yung nakikita sa TV. Iba
Yes.
yung napapanood siguro ng tao sa TV, iba yung kung nasaan ka man kasi minsan may makikita ka na
Na hindi nahagip ng camera.
hindi nahagip naman ng camera. So, that was the first, ito yung pinapakita natin, was the first day. Ang sarap kasi sariwain
Yes.
balikan. And then after that, ay nagpahinga na siya sa Papal
Nunciature,
Nunciature,
yes.
no?
Oo.
Nung unang araw ng January 15. All right. And then the next day was when he went to Malacanang and you
Yes.
covered it again.
Yes.
Okay, what happened there?
For his meeting with the President and meeting with the authorities and members of the diplomatic corps. So medyo kung gaano kaingay dun sa grandstand and sa Villamor Air Base at sa mga streets along on the way to Taft Avenue. Ganoon naman katahimik dun sa Malacanang, kaseryoso. And I remember what struck me most was his message. Siyempre, ang mga kaharap niya, mga opisyal ng bansa who had the power to change the lives of people. So, I was struck by his reminder to them to live lives of integrity, not to forget the poor, and to respect human life and dignity. Yun, so parang ginigising niya yung mga opisyal ng bansa na huwag kalimutan ng mga mahihirap. That was very powerful. Yeah.
And after that, that was the second day. After Malacanang, I think he made his way to Manila Cathedral. So
yes.
iba na yung nag-cover nun, ano? Hindi
Yeah.
na ikaw yun. Tapos the day after that was Tacloban. Ako naman yun nandun.
Yes.
Tapos the day after, Ito na yung the
UST.
day before aalis siya. Ito na yung sa UST yung kinukwento mo. So, this was the time that he met with the youth.
Yeah.
Prior to that, let's not forget may MOA pala
Yes.
for families naman.
Yeah.
So, tell us dun sa UST.
Yeah.
Festive yun.
Festive, young people, very energetic. Wala sa kanila yung pagod, ulan, ang aga ng call time natin. So, ito lang yating coverage, Pinky, na hindi ako napagod. At wala akong reklamo. Sa maagang call time, walang tulog, hindi ko naramdaman yung gutom. Hindi ako actually naihi. There was no conscious effort to go to stay away from our spot kasi ang ganda ng vantage point natin.
Okay.
Tapos, so meeting with the youth.
Ito na yung sinasabi mo, ikwento natin to. May mga bata kasi that were allowed, it was part of the schedule na magsasabi sila ng something kay Pope, di ba? Tapos yun yung si Glyza. Pero sa Tagalog niya sinabi. Di ba Tagalog
yes,
ang kanyang pagbigkas
Yeah,
niya?
she was allowed to ask a question to the Pope. And then, ang tanong niya, yun ang tanong ng lahat. Bakit nagdurusa ang mga bata?
Bakit pinapayagan ng Diyos?
Pinapayagan ng Diyos ang pagdurusa ng mga bata lalo na.
Hindi lang yun, meron pandagdag yun eh. Bakit pinapayagan ng Diyos ang pagdurusa? At very little people are helping.
Yes.
Konting tao lang ang tumutulong.
Gumagawa
Yun.
ng paraan, yes.
Oo.
Para maibsan yung hirap nila. And then,
Tsaka umiyak siya, di ba? Umiyak siya.
hindi na niya halos na tapos yung tanong niya and then niyakap na siya ng Santo Papa.
Right.
And then, ang nakaka-inspire naman doon, the Pope did not pretend to know the answer as well. Same thing na ginawa niya sa Tacloban, the one you mentioned earlier. Ang sinabi lang niya, gayahin natin si Glyzel na umiyak. He spoke about the importance of weeping. Ang sabi niya, naalala ko, kasi ang mga mahirap umiiyak, ang marginalized umiiyak, pero we who live in relatively comfortable lives no longer know how to weep. Kasi sabi niya, by weeping, we would understand what other people are going through. We would understand their suffering. Sabi ko, wow, grabe, tagos talaga sa puso ang sinabi ng Santo
Hindi ko
Papa.
maalala yung part na yun. Yun pala naging sagot niya.
Yes, oo.
Glyza.
Yung humility na hindi niya alam ang sagot, pero umiyak si Glyzel, payagan din natin ang sarili natin na umiyak gaya niya.
And then what happened after that?
After that, tumakbo ako sa spot kung saan dadaan yung Pope Mobile because I was a fanboy. Alam mo kung dadaan doon sa spot na yun at may hump, so bepreno yung Pope Mobile, so inevitably
Matalino
titigil.
ka.
Sinigaw ko yung pangalan, tinawag ko, Pope, Papa Francesco, tumingin, and then that was one eye contact na hindi ko makakalimutan. And na-capture ko sa
Meron,
camera.
pakita natin yung photos ni Willard. Ang dami niyang na tago na mga photos. Obviously, he kept
People
those.
plane.
Ito
That was
yung...
the
ito
day
yung-
he was leaving.
Ito na yung paalis siya. Oo.
Aga ng call time, sunrise. Pa-sunrise pa.
Siyempre, kailangan mo. Kasi i-cordon off nila yan, di ba?
Yes.
Ang lapit mo din, ha?
Yes.
Ayan, yan ang
aking,
dala-dala niyang...
nahukay sa baul na press ID.
Press
Sabi
ID.
ko, hindi ko itatapon. That was our cameraman, Brian.
Brian!
Pimentel. Yes,
Ah.
so, live cameraman. So, was just annotating what we were seeing.
Ayan, ito
explaining
ba
the
yung
scene.
nakuha
Yan,
mo nung
yan.
nasa hump, nung
Yes,
tumigil sa hump?
tumigil sa hump.
Oo.
That was the eye contact.
Oo. Ang galing,
treasure
ha?
forever.
Yung
Yan.
akin talagang kailangan ko ng binoculars para
Sa layo,
makikita si Pope. Dapat pala ganon. Ngayon alam na natin.
Look for
Doon
humps.
tayo pupunta sa may mga humps. Willard, in all that, sabi mo nga, you're known to be a very composed person, a reporter na napakagaling at napaka-composed nga. Naiyak ka nung nakita mo siya?
Honestly, hindi ako naiyak. Sabi ko, I had to remind myself always na be composed, be calm, and remind myself that people are watching and relying on us for information of not just what we were seeing, but of explaining the significance of what was happening. So sabi ko, reminder to self, huwag kang iiyak, huwag kang iiyak. Ang hirap nun kasi parang nakita mo si Kristo na nasa harap mo. It's not easy. It's not easy na gawing compose ang sarili mo, especially knowing that the Pope was the Vicar of Christ.
And there's even another story about a significant part of your life. Hindi ba? Di ba, Willard, dito? Totoo ba? Pwede ba nating ikwento yun o ayaw mo?
Pwede yung, because of the people visit,
Yes.
I met my future wife.
Yes,
And
okay. So
I thought it was gonna be for the Valentine episode ng on.
Hindi, pwede naman tayo mag-part 2 kasi patapos na yung programa. So you met your future wife back then.
Yes, yes. That's one blessing na talaga namang na kinalabasan ng papal visit na I'll treasure the most. Yeah, it was in UST, Encounter with the Youth. My future wife, her name's Christine. She's a part of a church group, one of the delegates of that church group, and I was there covering. And before that, she was already an acquaintance. Facebook friend. Crush ko na, kumbaga.
May something na pala, okay.
Sabi ko, uy, nandito ka. And their group was positioned right in front of the media scaffolding. So nakapag friends pa ng konti.
Nakapag-eye contact kayo.
That was another eye contact that I'll never forget. May picture kami, hindi ko nadala. So. And then, after that, yun na. Sabi nga namin, Pope Francis was our matchmaker. Kundi dahil sa kanya
Without him
pag-visit,
knowing it, yeah.
hindi magkakaroon ng built-in. We have that.
Ang ganda ng ano,
Hashtag.
ang ganda. Ang ganda ng story niyo. I mean, your experience and having met again. Hindi naman met, kilala mo na eh.
Yeah,
medyo
encountered
doon
again, yes.
nag-umpisa
Oo, yan.
ang inyong love
Hindi ko na
story.
pinakawalan.
Di ba? Buti na lang.
Yeah.
Siguro to end it, how would you remember Pope Francis?
Well, aside from being our matchmaker, you know, Pinky, while researching for his visit, doing my homework, yung researching about his motto, yung theme ng visit, mercy and compassion, those were just vague and abstract words for me eh. Pero nung dumating siya, nabuhay yung mga salitang yun. And he really exemplified those words, mercy and compassion. And he taught us how to live those words. So sabi ko, pag alis niya, I'll try my best to also follow his example and to be a better person and try to practice mercy and compassion to other people as well.
Sana tayong lahat, no?
Yeah.
Tayong lahat, even with what Father Francis Lucas was telling us a while ago. Sana maalala natin ano yung mas importante talaga dito sa mundong ito. Di ba?
Yes. Yeah.
Si Willard Cheng, thank you so much for joining me tonight. And of course, we're going to have him beginning this Monday, April 28 po, sa agenda. So it's Corina,
Excited.
it's Willard, and it's me. Willard, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's On Point. Join us again tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.